Real business owners. Welcome back to the Real Business Owners Podcast. This is episode 52 with myself, Trevor Cowley, and Kale Goodman.
What's up?
What up? So Kale's looking like he's been on a construction site because he has.
Yeah.
He's got the dirt to prove it. So
I know, man. I owe you an apology, bro. I haven't been much of a help in thinking up topics or nothing. I've been spending 70% of my time at this home. It's always been a dream of mine, dude, to build a home like me build it, you know?
Yeah.
And dude, I've bitten off more than I can chew, but I just keep telling myself like, it's gonna be worth it.
Yeah,
dude.
It'll be over one day.
I know, dude. And we're getting every day it's a little closer. I'm just like, oh my god. But it still seems like so much more to go.
That's an analogy right there.
Yeah.
Eventually your problems will go away. Just stay the course and you'll be glad that you did, right? But it just when you're in the moment, it just feels like it's going to last forever, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so that's just a good analogy for life and business in general with whatever it is you're going through, even if you're going through something like a negative point or and you're depressed.
Yeah.
Stay the course. You'll get through it. You'll pop out the other side. It's not going to last. Whatever pain in the ass that you're dealing with is not going to last forever.
Yeah.
And you'll be glad that you stayed the course and you stuck it out,
It's
right?
true. It's kind of good, though, to get back to the roots. Dude, I've had a lot of gratitude for what we've built here and what we do because, dude, I used to do this for a living.
Being out in the hot sun,
and I hate it, dude. And I'm like, holy shit, why did I ever want to do this? But I'm like, I have to see it through.
Yeah.
I made that commitment.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's cool though. Everybody should maybe get back to their roots one day. If you started out as like a stock boy at a grocery store, go back and do that shit for a few weeks and
do you have an internship? I don't want to get paid anything, but I need gratitude. I need a slap in the face of gratitude. So I want to stock shelves for like a week just so that I can stop bitching about my current situation. So.
Right.
So this episode is going to be about, all of the things, well, not all of the things. It's impossible to talk about all of the things that we've done to get uncomfortable. But I think that here's really what it comes down to. I believe that if you put yourself in enough uncomfortable situations on purpose, where you control the situation and control the decision to get uncomfortable when an external situation that's uncomfortable makes its way into your life, that it's not going to be as difficult because you've already got used to being uncomfortable.
Right.
So either it's self-imposed uncomfort or it's, outside forces putting uncomfortable situations on you. And if you do the uncomfortable things enough, the outside stuff won't affect you as much. That's one thing that I've realized with this whole COVID thing is a lot of the successful people that we know with inside of the groups like Arete or whatever, they're staying positive and it's not affecting them like it is, let's say, the normal individual because they've put themselves in a lot of tough situations already. This is just another tough situation. Right? Or another uncomfortable situation. So it's just like, okay, let's make it through this one and we'll pop out better on the other side. They just are mentally, they stay positive about the situation rather than just getting too low, right?
And a lot of us in our group dude, we've been through downtimes. You know what I mean? Like we've been through uncomfortable positions, situations, we've gotten on the other side of them. And so we are a little more callous to it, but dude, everybody's got room to grow, you know what I mean? So, shit.
Well, some people aren't comfortable with change.
Yeah.
Right? Like
it's hard.
It is very hard.
Yeah.
A lot.
It scares me too.
Yeah, exactly. So change, that's one thing that's guaranteed in life. Things will evolve. Things will change. What worked 5 years ago might not work today. And sometimes you stay stuck on what used to work a little too long. For instance, one of our businesses that we just pivoted, right? In terms of, working in the business funding space. And we did that for 10 years. Then we pivoted and just changed it to only be a credit repair company for anybody, not just people that are looking for business funding. And now that's working. So what worked for us 5 years ago in that industry is not working for us today. So we had to adjust.
How many freaking badass businessmen are done because they were not willing to evolve, because they had a hard time adapting to change. Like, look at like so many CPA firms. I mean, we're in the accounting industry, dude. They didn't want to do the cloud-based stuff because their clients didn't trust the cloud. And now all those businesses are either going out or they're getting old or retiring. You know, businesses are adapting, using new software technologies. And like, so all of a sudden these younger firms are actually, you know, thriving more than them. These other ones are going out of business. We see it all the time.
Well, that's
and it's
one
like,
thing we
we're
hear
going to have to do it too one day, because the technology is going to be freaking 10 times different in 10 years from now.
It comes down to just being open-minded to change and being willing to, you know, make changes. I think that, again, people get scared of that because the way that they've done something has brought them a certain livelihood, right, or income level. So they're stuck on that, and they're expecting that way to, if they hit a down spot in their business, they just stay the course rather than being open-minded on what tweaks or adjustments could be made with inside that business. And so that's really what it comes down to, is about getting uncomfortable, right? I think a lot of people get content with where they're at and they stop getting uncomfortable. And we were guilty of that for probably years before we started joining groups and, you know, having people, leaders to look up to, this, that they do this and this and this. And then we're like, well, shit, maybe I need to do this, this, and this, right? Like, again, we've talked about this a little bit before in previous podcasts. Like, what are some of the things that the people that you look up to do? Yeah. Right? Like, what are successful habits, right? Are your habits that of a successful creature, right? Because we're all creatures of habit. Right. The problem is we try to seek what's familiar, not what's right in some cases, right? And so this whole podcast is going to discuss some of the things that we've done to take a step outside of our comfort zone to help us kind of get where we're at, right? And so it comes down to moving into a new office. I remember having that conversation when we're talking about going from like $3,000 a month lease. This is an $11,000 a month lease. That's a large increase. And we didn't necessarily need that much square footage when we initially moved into it. So that was an uncomfortable decision.
Yeah, it was.
But that decision and stepping into that uncomfort put another level of pressure on us to have to grow our companies to fit the space. And I remember saying, I think it'll be a good move. Yeah. And I believe that by default, having a better, bigger, nicer space for our employees to work out of will bring more out of them. In other words, by default, more revenue will ultimately come into the business.
Because we did look at a lot of spaces that, you know, we're going to be, you know, double our rent, but not triple, not quadruple.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And so I actually remember being nervous about that, and you were the one that sold me on it. You know, you were the one that was like, dude, I feel like this is going to force growth for us. Yeah. You know, and it's also going to, you know, attract more people to us and everything, right? So that was the selling point for me. But yeah, it was uncomfortable, man. Because we weren't taking fat paychecks home at that time either. So I'm like, man, why are we increasing
overhead?
You know what I mean? Quadrupling our rent when we're not even giving ourselves a raise. You know what I mean? But that's just how those are the thoughts that you go through as any business owner, right? So those doubts, things you gotta weigh.
Those doubts creep in, right? It's very difficult to put yourself in a situation over and over and over in business to where you're the last one to get paid when, you know, we're not taking large checks. It's not like we were, 4 or 5 years ago, it's not like we were just killing it, right? Yeah. We were doing well, compared to the average, right? Yeah. But it's nothing like what we're doing now. And I just felt like, if somebody's working out of a nicer area in terms of office, it just feels better. And if it feels better,
you want to create an environment where people want to come, clients, employees, you know, you really want to build your culture the way you want it. And sometimes that is the environment that you build, right? And
exactly.
But dude, I've never, ever, signed a lease under 5 years. Yeah. And I've never signed one. I've been in business for 15 years now, so I've done a few. Yeah. I've never signed one where I didn't have those thoughts, though, those uncomfortable thoughts of like, dude, I'm personally guaranteeing this. Like, this is quadruple the rent, and before it was double, and you know what I mean? And I've never signed one where I'm like, man, like, what if something happens or
Yep.
something crashes my
Yep.
business and I'm on the hook for this lease and then the landlord put all this money into tenant improvements and
Yep.
like now I'm going to be in court and be sued and be, you know what I mean? Like it's not like renting a house for a year or two where you have to live. It's different, man, you know? Like so there is. It's scary. But it's uncomfortable, man, and you have those thoughts.
But like you just said, those thoughts are natural though. Mm-hmm. Right? The having the thoughts of doubt, having the thoughts of where the heck am I going to be in 5 years? Business is so crazy as it is. It has ups and downs and lefts and right. Like I'm hoping that I'm making the right decision. And again, business really comes down to just betting on yourself, right? That's really what it comes down to at the end of the day is I believe in what I'm able to do. So I'm going to continue to double down, triple down, and invest more and commit more to my business. And I think that the more that you commit to the business, the more the business gives back to you, right? So you guys need to stop flirting with your business. If there's even Cam hit me up when he was about to sign a new lease. He's like, dude, just tell me. Like, is it worth? And I'm like, you're hitting me up for advice? I should be hitting you up for advice. Like, you're the one worth millions. You shouldn't even be worried about signing a lease, right? And so
everybody needs that, though. You know what I mean?
Just that little kick in the butt, that little nudge. Mm-hmm. Starting a podcast was very uncomfortable. You know, now it's obviously far more comfortable than what it used to be. Yeah. Now that we're 52 weeks into it.
I mean, dude, it's the same. There's different kinds of uncomfortable. You know what I mean? There's you know, I mean, hell, if you're doing squats in the squat rack and you're on rep 12 and it's uncomfortable and you just want to push to 13 is different than like uncomfortable mentally, like starting a new podcast or jumping on stage to present in front of a crowd because now you're uncomfortable because you care what other people think. Mm-hmm. You're afraid you're going to mess up. You're going to look stupid. People are going to judge you. Like, you know what I mean? And like, as much as we work on our egos and we do all these things, like we're always have things to work on. And so podcast, dude, it's kind of like getting on stage. Like, man, people I know are going to listen. Are they going to talk shit? Are they going to like, you know, are they going to judge me? And we've gotten better and better over the years as we've worked on our ego, not giving a shit what people think and just pushing through anyway. Yeah. But it's always there a little bit, which is good because we always need to work on it, right? But that's that kind of uncomfortable, I feel like.
Well, yeah, there's the physical uncomfort. There's financial uncomfort.
But growth is always on the other side of it.
Yeah, I mean that's just the common denominator, and I think that right now in the environment that we're in, a lot of people are uncomfortable, and you just need to embrace it. Yeah. Right. So if you embrace it, there will be something good on the other side of it. All you need to do is survive. Yeah. In some cases in business, your business will be in survival mode. You're not alone in that. Every entrepreneur, everybody that's ever started a business, even if they did good for the first 3 or 4 years, they're going to hit a spot where they're in survival mode. Yeah. Nobody's immune to having a downturn in business. So again, survival mode is a mode that really molds you into a true entrepreneur or a true business owner, a true problem solver, an individual that is deserving of success. Mm-hmm. Because if you go through difficult times and you struggle and you're on survival mode, you have a different muscle than somebody that hasn't hit that yet. Yeah. You know, we've been fine throughout this whole process because we've had past struggles. Mm-hmm. This might be somebody's first struggle in business. Cool. You'll get through it and you'll be stronger because of it. And in 2025, you're going to look back and say, man, that 1 year, this is what I did different. This is the outcome, and it will be positive. Look, I mean, even starting the Instagram account, hiring a videographer, all of that stuff was uncomfortable. Yeah. Okay.
Putting your face on camera.
Very uncomfortable.
Hiring the videographer might have not been that uncomfortable, but actually.
Well, it's a financial discomfort. It's a financial discomfort. I mean, Jeremy didn't want to do it. You know, I mean, he was hesitant about it, right? One of our partners, me and Kale were pretty much bought in on the idea of doing it because we believed that it would be beneficial to our businesses at one point or another, but there's no guarantee with that. There's still some sort, I mean, we're still having to give up thousands of dollars on a monthly basis in hopes that something comes out of it. Cross our fingers, right? So a lot of the things that you guys are going to have to do in business is going to be blind faith, believing in something that maybe others don't see the reason why yet.
Right.
And you've got to go with it. That's just the truth of the matter. If you believe in it, that's all that matters. You're the individual that's operating the business. You're the individual running the business. And whether it's successful or whether it's not successful, that's going to land on your shoulders. So don't let somebody else's opinion of what you should or shouldn't do affect the outcome of your life.
Definitely.
And I think that that's a big issue, is a lot of people don't make moves because they don't want to look stupid.
I actually had somebody say something to me once, and it helped me. And it was about speaking because, dude, I get so nervous.
Yeah.
And I do it anyway. And I've had decent ones and I've had really shitty ones.
Yeah.
And I've gone forward and then I've gone backwards. And, like this guy says, well, why the hell are you so nervous or whatever? And I'm like, man, I don't know. I just get nervous and I blank out. And then, sometimes I always think there's going to be like someone that's smarter than me in the crowd that's going to like call me out and I'm not going to know how to answer it, or I'm not going to know the answer to a question on something. And he's like, so you just worried about all these people judging you? And I was like, that's part of it too. And he says, well, then that might mean you have a problem judging other people. Have you ever thought about that? And I was like, that's true, dude. Like sometimes I watch people speak and when they start struggling, I start picking them apart. I start, you know what I mean? Like I start looking at like their flaws. I start, like thinking what they could do better. Or, you know what I mean? I'm judging them. And so I was like, man, that's true, dude. Maybe I need to work on not being so judgmental and then I won't care about people judging me, right? And so that was something I actually, I think it actually did help me. It's kind of helped me in some situations where...
I've also heard that, when you step on stage, try to focus on the value that you're giving, not what people think about you while you're up there. Mm-hmm. So it's... Somebody said... When I'm on stage, it's not about me. I'm just trying to give good information to people so that they benefit, and I'm making it about them. Mm-hmm. And if I'm making it about them, it makes me a little less what's the word? I don't know. I just blanked out. But self-conscious.
Oh, right.
Yeah, self-conscious, right? Stepping on stage is uncomfortable, flat out. I only did it that one time with the little MC thing, but the room was only like 30 or 40 people, so that was nothing. But
we'll do it more, man. We get events rolling again. We'll do it more. We'll get better at it.
Yeah.
It's just, dude, it is a magnet, though, right? Like, if you get up there, so I've done presentations where I'm like, I'm going to go for a close at the end. And that is kind of nerve-wracking because then I'm like, oh, shit, like, I don't want people to feel like I'm just trying to close them from stage. I do want to give value, but I also do want to earn business. Otherwise, I wouldn't be getting on a stage. Yeah. So you do kind of want to get up there with that intention of like, dude, I just want to give value, and I want to tell people how they can get in contact with us if they feel like we're the right fit or whatever, but not try and be so hardcore closing at the stage because I don't like those type of events, right? And so sometimes because I don't like those type of events, it does kind of make it nervous when you're going to try and go for a close on stage. But there are ways to do it where you don't have to feel like that. And you don't have to make it feel like that to them. And dude.
You didn't want to feel like a slime ball.
Right.
Just trying to like say all the right things and then throw an offer out there and all that.
But dude, every time I've gotten up, and even on ones where we didn't try and offer anything, because there's some events where like we don't want you to offer anything, we just want you to give some tips, pitch, like not even pitch, just speak on things and it's like everyone floods you after the event, and some of them I feel like I did really bad, and so, dude, speaking is a magnet, bro. Like people will just come to you with questions, and then they'll want to reach out to you, and then you will earn business by putting yourself out there and getting through that discomfort and just doing it. If you're in a business, right?
So how do people get through discomfort?
You just do it, man.
There's nothing that you can do to make the situation comfortable. Yeah. Let's just call it how it is. It's impossible to be 100% comfortable if you're speaking on a stage.
Yeah.
Okay? You're going to have to go through that uncomfort so that eventually you can find some sort of comfort.
Yeah.
And even every single time, you'll probably still have a little bit of butterflies every time you go up. And that is a positive thing.
Right. The
reason why it's positive is because it's forcing you to perform at your peak.
I still get nervous talking to our staff sometimes, dude. You know what I mean? It just is what it is.
There was an athlete that said, every single time before they play, they get a little bit of butterflies. That's because they want to perform at their peak.
Yeah.
They get a little nervous. But that's, if they didn't have that, that means they don't care that much.
Right.
Why would you be nervous if you don't give a shit?
That's true.
I don't care how I perform. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care if I score 2 points or 20 points. Like, I'm gonna go out and play.
Dude, the first time I got asked to talk at an event, I said yes, because I'm kind of a yes man. Dude,
Yeah.
I love taking on a new challenge, right? Like, I love figuring out something new. Like, speaking is always something I actually kind of wanted to try. But, dude, I was so relieved when I had something come up and I had to back out. Remember, we hired Mitch to do it?
Oh yeah, I had to go up there with him.
Yeah,
he called me up there.
Oh, dude, I was so nervous. I was like relieved, and then I felt like shit
after,
because I was like glad that something came up and I had to puss out, right? Yeah. And so the next time I got it, I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna see it through." And so that's really the thing, man. Is just say yes to those opportunities, and no matter how hard it is, uncomfortable it is, like, you just do it. Yeah. Just be willing to go fall flat on your face, because you are going to sometimes. You know, like, some people are probably going to be naturally better than others. That's a given. But just be willing to go up and suck.
Look at some of the first videos that we made a couple years ago.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I know.
You know, we didn't know what we were
Casey
doing.
went and resurfaced one. I was so embarrassed.
Yeah, it's like, oh my God. Now we know why people are like, who do these guys think that they are? Yeah. Based upon the video.
Some douchebags.
Yeah, you got to suck your way into basically eventually being good, right?
And that's one thing I had to tell myself several times when I was trying to, get on a few stages, is like, dude, it's going to be over and you're not going to die over it.
Yeah.
And you know what? No one's even going to think about it. Even if you do get up and you suck, you think the dude that in the crowd that thought you sucked, or the gal or whoever, is even going to think about you next year, next month, next week? Like, no. Dude, they don't care. They're going home from their event, whatever. If they don't, they're not going to be sitting there analyzing how shitty you were 2-3 weeks from now.
They're not taking notes on how shitty you are.
So you just got to be willing to suck and not care, what they do think. But then even if you do care what they think, like, you got to know, bro, it's all just going to pass. It's just all going to blow over.
So I got a message just like 2 or 3 days ago, and they were like, well, how do you get past the uncomfortable the part of speaking? And then I'm like, and I told you about it. I'm like, you don't. Like, you just do it. That some people will get past it, some people won't.
Yeah.
The discomfort that's your barrier of entry. That's your fee to get to the next level, right? That's the price that you have to pay, is that living in that moment of discomfort to get something better. Okay. And so if if you're nervous, if you're scared, or you're this, that's usually a sign that it's a good thing. That should be because your brain always tries to sell you the comfortable way of doing things. If your brain is stuttering or questioning what's about to happen, in most cases, like 90% of cases, that's probably what you should be doing. Mm-hmm. Somebody calls you right now and says, hey, we want you to speak at this event. Your brain initially is probably, oh man, I don't know. I haven't been doing it for a while. I don't know if I want to do it. Yes.
You just have to say yes. And
once you commit, then you commit, and then it is what it is, and you kind of live with it. Again, that's just one form of getting uncomfortable, but anytime that you get uncomfortable, something positive is going to come from it. What about getting uncomfortable and getting into some of these entrepreneurship groups that we've been a part of?
Dude, for sure.
If that's a financial discomfort and a physical discomfort, putting yourself in a room where you feel less than a lot of people. Mm-hmm. You're wondering, am I the least financially stable person in this room? And you start questioning yourself, right? And you want to posture yourself and make sure that people think that, that you're deserving to also be in the crowd as well. The funny thing is the more people that we would talk to with inside that group, other people would say the same thing. I feel like I'm the lowest guy in the group. Everybody's doing big shit.
It gets said so much.
And then you start realizing, like, holy shit, the feelings that I feel, that's what everybody feels.
Yeah.
And I think that's what, when somebody looks at somebody and they're like, man, how did they do it? Like, why? How did they get? Because those same people that had those same feelings just like we did, they all ended up being in the same room with us, and we all end up leveling up. So they went into a situation that was uncomfortable, that they felt like that they were the little guy or less than. And you get to talking to him like, holy shit, dude, that's what me and Kale said. We felt like we were the people least financially stable to be in the room. Not saying that we're unstable financially, but it just seems like that there's guys worth millions and millions and millions of dollars, you know, in that room. And so you really start measuring yourself with everybody that's in the room, you know, and that's uncomfortable. It really is uncomfortable. But then when you get past that bullshit, that mental bullshit that creeps into your head, and you start communicating with some people in the group, you're like, man, these are some badass fucking people,
dude. And you realize that they're just human too. Like I actually start noticing things like, I don't even know how to explain it, but you start noticing things like that they're insecure about, you know, and things that, you know, that they're not experts on or whatever. And you're just like, dude, we're all just human, man. Like,
we give everybody else the benefit of the doubt that they're just the best and the greatest and that they know everything. But then we shortchange ourselves and say, we don't know shit. We're undeserving, you know, all these doubts.
It's like
it should be flip-flopped.
It's like the hot chick at school, dude. You put her on a pedestal and you're like afraid to put yourself out there to go like even just talk to her. Like you think she's better than you for some reason because she's like, the hot chick. Or, you know what I mean?
At the end of the day, she's human too. But like she don't look human.
But that's kind of how it is, dude. When you see these dudes, maybe they're doing $100 million a year in business and you're only doing 10 or whatever. You put them on a pedestal, man. You shouldn't. You're just like, but I don't know. It's just part of the process.
It is part of the process, and that process.
People do it to us, you know, and I'm just like, what? What do you mean?
Even
Jeffro.
He said he's like,
dude, I was so nervous to call you guys. I'm like, bro, we went to high school together. Why would you be nervous to call? You guys just do big shit. It's like, I don't even feel like that.
Yeah,
you know, like
that's what's. It's just
now he's doing big shit.
Yeah, but again, that's the common theme.
Yeah,
is that everybody's putting themselves in a lot of uncomfortable situations to realize that they're just projecting that they believe it's really much worse than it really is. There's a statistic that's like 98% of the shit that you worry about doesn't ever happen, and the 2 or 3% the times that it does, it's never as bad as you projected it to be.
True, dude.
You know, so it's always, you know, again, we just oversell ourselves some bullshit just to try to talk ourselves out of being uncomfortable.
And people just downgrade themselves too, man, like internally or mentally, like when they're in those environments. And so, I mean, you just got to ask yourself, man, when you're feeling like that shit, like, dude, am I just downgrading myself? Like, what the fuck?
Did you know it takes the exact same amount of energy to believe in yourself as it does to worry?
Exactly.
So it's just a matter of your brain naturally, when it's on autopilot, is a worrier because it's meant to protect you. When you actually have full control of your brain and it's not just on autopilot feeding you full of shit, that same energy that you're talking about worrying and getting anxiety and this, and if you actually just turn the page or turn the chapter and you then start in moments where your brain's, you're not good enough or you're not this, you're not, you know, that's, you shouldn't do that. You're undeserving. These people are way better than you. Those are the moments where you actually take it off of autopilot and you have full control and say, I am worthy. I am good enough. I have done big shit. People do look up to me. You know, all of these things. Yeah,
I do have value to offer here. And you know what? It all just comes down to practice, dude.
It really
Everything
does.
is. And I know we've talked about that before, but that can really be said about anything. Because once you become aware of something like, dude, am I just downgrading myself? Like, what the hell? Like, I'm going to start telling myself right now that I'm not like that, right? And you start flipping the narrative and you start saying, no, dude, I'm worthy of being in this room. And you start practicing that, right? Every time you get in those situations, because once you become aware of it, you start telling yourself the other side of it over and over and over again, then you start naturally thinking that way.
Well, even asking a question inside of the group, right? That you know, you get little anxiety and build up. Like, did you even ask a question? You're like, well, I don't want to look fucking dumb. I don't want to ask a dumbass question. And then like them say, well, we've already covered that, you idiot, or you know, something of that. And then you ask the question, and it was a good question, and you got a good answer, and there was no reason to have anxiety or anything like that prior to it. And again, this is all just personal bullshit that your brain tries to, you know, I don't know what it is. It's just fucking weird as shit.
It is, dude. That's why I've made it a point to ask a question at every event. I don't know if you've noticed, but I always do it, dude. I always like, And I always overthink too. Like, what question should I get? I sometimes hurry and just make one up just to ask a question because, dude, I'm just practicing it.
Yeah.
I'm just practicing being in front of everybody, asking questions, putting it out there, even if at the risk that it might be a stupid question or something that we already covered. Maybe I didn't pay as good attention as I should have or whatever, right? You just do it, man. It's just practice.
So investing large amounts of money into entrepreneurship group, that's financially uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. We just don't know whether we're going to get a large return out of it or not. Anything that you do at first is going to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But if somebody said, hey, it's X amount of money to invest into this group, but it's a good-ass group, we probably wouldn't bat an eye and be like, yeah, let's fucking do it.
Yeah,
because we've had the experience now.
Yeah.
You know, so it's really just about the experience. And life is about experiences. And the more uncomfortable experiences that you have had, the better you are at dealing with uncomfortable situations. Mm-hmm. Therefore, that's why a lot of entrepreneurs that are somewhat successful do not have the same fear, worry, or uncertainty in the COVID situation as the normal person, because they've already had so many uncomfortable experiences in their life in order to get where they are financially, that when, again, a third party or an outside force comes into their world, that's just one of many uncomfortable situations. So if I've dealt with 100 uncomfortable situations and one enters, that's only 1%.
Right.
Of uncomfortable situations that I've dealt with.
That's a good way to look at it.
If other people avoid uncomfortable situations and they've only dealt with 10 situations that are uncomfortable and an outside force comes in, that's 10%. That has a far more weight of uncomfort on them than it does somebody else. Mm-hmm. That's the easiest way to measure it. The more uncomfortable experiences you have, the more that you realize that there's nothing really that uncomfortable. You see the other side of it. Again, it's about getting on the other side. If your normal is not ever getting on the other side and you're paralyzed on this side of uncomfort, then all you're doing is listening to your brain on all the what if scenarios that might happen that 98% of the time will not happen. And when you get onto the other side, there'll be that relief. And then the next time you face an uncomfortable situation, it's that much easier to just face it head on. And then face the next one head on. And then it just becomes a situation where an individual is so immune to discomfort that they can make decisions of investing $6,000 a month into an entrepreneurship group with a snap of a decision and not even bat an eye at it. And there's somebody else there wondering how the fuck did they even feel comfortable to even get to the point of investing that type of money into a group.
Yeah.
They've just been uncomfortable far more times than you have, and they've seen the other side of uncomfortable far more times than you have. Therefore, they realize all the positive shit's on the other side, and you're stuck on this side of it. That's just the truth.
It is.
So this was a personal experience that me and Kale had in November doing an ayahuasca, okay? So that has a little taboo, whatever. I think it's only taboo and weird to people because they haven't ever experienced it.
Yeah.
So anything that you don't have an experience with, you can go say, oh, it's easy to label that as weird or taboo or this or that. And again, all that's doing is shortchanging yourself from having an opportunity at a new experience in life. Maybe an uncomfortable experience that'll get you to the point to where you're more confident and comfortable with yourself in uncomfortable situations. So the ayahuasca, I mean, me and Kale were, again, this is kind of somewhat of a drug-induced experience to where you do a lot of soul searching and you're trying to find what your life's purpose is. And, and this is just a quest of just wanting to be better business guys, better husbands, better human beings, trying to really, I think we all have the question, what's our true purpose on this earth? Like, what am I, we make good money, but now what? Like, should I just continue to focus on money? What's the next step for me? How can I make a larger impact? We know that we have somewhat of a small audience now with real business owners. And I want to be respectful of that audience and make sure that we're giving them valuable information that can impact their life in a positive way.
Totally.
So in order to do that, that means we've got to continue to be uncomfortable and continue to add more experiences to our life so that we can bring more value to other people. That's what it comes down to.
Absolutely.
And so last year, that was November, but the year prior, Kale said, let's do it. Mm-hmm. And I said, no, dude. I said, I'm not ready for that, I think is what I said, or something like, I'm that's too much.
Well, I'd met some guys in business that were like, dude, it was life-changing for me. But dude, I was nervous as shit too, because I've never been like a drug user, dude. Like I dabbled with a couple things in high school. Yeah. I actually hate the way even getting high on weed makes me feel. Yeah. Like I never liked it. So I was like, dude, if I smoked weed, I get like super high anxiety, heart starts pounding, and people look at me like I'm weird. Like I've met a few people like that, but like, really? It's supposed to chill you out. And I'm like, not me, man. Like I guess I'm a hypochondriac or something, bro. Yeah. I don't know, but like I overthink things. I feel totally like insecure. My heart races. I feel like something's wrong. And so I was super nervous to like ingest these medicines.
Yeah, that's what
I know nothing about.
But
they're designed to make you uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So Kale, a year prior to me committing, asked if I would do it, and I wasn't open to it at that point, and then the following year, I think that's when we were talking prior to the podcast. Like you were saying, you've never listened to a Joe Rogan podcast. I listened to a little sliver of Mike Tyson and Joe Rogan's podcast, and they were talking about DMT and this, that, the other. And both of them are talking about how great of an experience it was. It kills the ego. It's this, it's that. And I'm like, if Mike Tyson did it and killed his ego, I mean, shit, he was like about snapping necks and eating children, like, and
ears,
biting ears. Yeah, I mean, so if it was a benefit to him, then it would probably be a huge benefit to me. And that's one thing. Like, I already know I have somewhat of an ego. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's out of control or anything like that, but I've wanted to become better by, getting rid of that as much as I possibly can. There's areas I believe that it serves you, and then there's areas where it doesn't. But
so it's gonna be something you had to work on forever, dude. You know what I mean? I don't think there's a person that has zero ego
unless you're like Gandhi or some shit, or Buddha.
Who knows? Even they gotta have maybe something, right? Like. They've had to have things go to their head, right?
Yeah, I would think.
Getting famous.
Exactly. If he didn't want to get famous, he would have stayed in the hills somewhere under a tree meditating, right? So he obviously wrote books and stuff. He wanted notoriety a little bit, but I would think that maybe it was more so out of wanting to help other people. But, getting that much notoriety, it's bound to go to any human's head just a little bit. But... Look, I mean, this was a very, very uncomfortable situation. It really, really was. I mean, me and Kale were sitting on a couch when we finally committed to this thing. We're at this house. It's a 2-day thing. We don't know
spending the night with dudes, and we don't even know.
Yeah,
it was weird, dude.
Yeah, it was, dude. Of course, it was uncomfortable as shit. Basically, the theme of the podcast, right?
Yeah, our wives were all worried.
They're worried as shit. They think we're gonna go off and die on some freaking drug medicine stuff, and peyote or whatever the heck. I don't even know what I was ingesting on day one, but I remember sitting there. We're sitting next to each other. Our palms are sweat. Like,
we're so
oh my God, it was nerve wracking because nobody knows what to expect. And again, it was another one of those scenarios where our mind was taking over and completely controlling all of the fears, all of the worry, all of the anxiety. It's selling us the worst case scenario. We might die, like what the heck is going to happen,
I think a few people asked him, dude,
we can't die, right?
Like,
or what?
Like, dude, does anyone ever die on this?
Yeah, exactly. So that was a personal journey just to try to get better as a human being. And we believe that if you get better as a human being, you'll probably be a better boss, a better employee, and hopefully it will financially have its rewards as well. Because if you're a better human being, you could serve other human beings better, and it's a win-win for everybody, right? And
I would never tell people to do it, but if anyone ever asked me if I got good things out of it, I'd be like, absolutely, man. I wrote some awesome shit down there, dude.
Yeah.
I had so many great takeaways. And dude, at the end of the day, we did have business come out of that group, dude. That was kind of weird. So yeah, dude, I would say that, we've already seen benefits from it, both personally and business wise, so I think, but I mean, just the growth alone from it, dude, I think there was a lot of great takeaways from it. I would do it again. I wouldn't go do it all the time.
Yeah. I think that there'll be another time where I'll get down on that. Now that I can go into it with zero anxiety, knowing that it's just, I want to go into it just free and comfortable, and maybe get a little bit different of an experience so that you can let go just a little bit more and let whatever message or whatever's supposed to come to you. But we've really, I mean, you name it, whether it's financially, we've taken steps outside of our comfort zone, whether it's physically, being on camera, exposing ourselves to people that talk shit, because there's plenty of those out there in the world, exposing ourselves personally to, ayahuasca stuff and trying to figure out how to become better in that aspect, exposing ourselves to groups of people in some of these business groups that we're a part of that, made us feel less than when we initially entered. But when you go into it, you're like, man, all these people are just great fucking people. And that's all they are, is human beings. And, they've just committed and they've been more disciplined to other people. Yeah. And they were willing to get uncomfortable and go to that same room that we were uncomfortable in. And then eventually that uncomfort goes away. You find, solid friendships and things like that. So at this point in time, whatever you have done to get you where you are, if you feel like you're kind of stuck in your ways, this is a perfect moment to shake things up and get uncomfortable again. Meditating, that I'm 27 days deep.
Nice.
On that shit, and that's not really who I am. I mean, if you talked to me 3 or 4 years ago, somebody would be like, dude, there's no fucking way that you'll ever be somebody that tries to meditate and zen out. But again, and at first it's uncomfortable because you sit there, you're just sitting there with your eyes closed, like nothing's really happening. Yeah. Like, this is stupid. Yeah. There's your brain again talking a bunch of shit.
It's a waste of time. You're like, wait, what else would I be doing?
Yeah. It's like
drinking coffee and
sitting there.
Waiting to get in the shower.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just a matter of, again, trying to always evolve.
Yeah.
And there was that moment, even just in this last summit, where Jaco said, you're content. To one of the Arete members, because he says, hey, with COVID and everything and gyms shutting down, how do we stay motivated? And he says, you're content.
Yeah.
And that was, I think that hit everybody in the group, really, because this individual is telling a high performer that he's content, which normally high performers don't hear that from anybody.
Yeah.
And it got me really even thinking about myself, like in terms of how many times in life I have got to a certain point and just been like, yeah, I'm good. I'm whether it's your physical shape, and that moment, right, where you say that you're good, that's the moment that things start turning for the worse.
100%.
That's the moment that you start getting out of shape, not into it. There's no such thing as autopilot. That's what people need to remove from their vocabulary, is either you're progressing or you're degressing. Yep. There's not that. Once you believe that there's just cruise control, so to speak, that's not, you're actually degressing when you're not in control.
Well, that's so many people's goals too, dude, is they're like, oh, I just want to get to this level or get to this weight or get to this, whatever it is, money in the bank account. And then I can just chill. Right. And then we get there and we chill. And then it all starts going backwards. And just like anything else, dude, you just have to be aware of it so you can snap back into go mode. You know what I mean? Take on another challenge or do something to push yourself and get uncomfortable because, dude, we all do it, man. We get to these, it creeps up on us too. It's like a ninja, bro. Content is a ninja.
Dude.
I caught myself.
You can't see that shit.
Getting
it's
content
so ninja.
Very recently, dude. I'm like, damn, bro. And I'm using this house as my crutch and all the shit I got going on, a new baby, I'm building the house and work and fitting in the podcast and fitting in the, work calls and all this shit. And I'm just like neglecting all these other things. And I know, dude. I know. So
because
I'm like,
a valid excuse is still an excuse.
100%.
Yes, you
I had that exact thought just the other day. I was like, bro, I got so many excuses. I know I'm busy. I could still, I twisted my ankle bad, bro. But I'm still out working on my house, so I could definitely still be doing some workouts. You know what I mean? I might not be able to run on it, but I could still get down and whatever, man. Get my push-ups, sit-ups, get, whatever. Get your shit. I've let my workouts go to shit lately, dude, and I know about it.
So I just got an idea.
To what?
Just an idea.
Okay.
So this will be, and again, we don't have to do it, Yeah. It's what the idea is. After each podcast, I challenge you to do something for an entire week until we hit our next podcast, and then you challenge me to do something.
All right.
Something different, whether it's running a mile a day for the next 7 days or whatever it is, reading 10 pages or doing just something. Because we talked, that guy, he said, you should set challenges for yourself. And if you're not setting challenges for yourself, you're going to get comfortable. Mm-hmm. That's just the way it is. So what challenges are you guys putting on yourself on a day-to-day basis to try to get better? Just recently I've turned up the way that I'm working out again because I just wasn't comfortable with the way that I felt, the way that I looked, because I got to a certain point and got comfortable. Yeah. And I'm like, well, I look fine. I'm good. Mm-hmm. And then I start eating in a different way than I normally eat.
Start hitting up Five Guys.
Oh God, don't go there before any challenge.
Dude, yeah, I've been slacking on those areas for sure, bro. So I'm down to take on a challenge. That was one of my biggest takeaways from 75 Hard, bro. Was, man, you have to
challenge yourself
to grow, right? Like, a challenge is such a great tool. You have to fully commit to seeing it through 100%.
That's why it's called a challenge.
It's not huge. It's a huge motivation or a huge compounding confidence builder, right? Like, because when you see a challenge all the way through, bro, you're just a little bit more confident to take on a bigger challenge.
Guaranteed.
Over and over and over and over
Guaranteed.
again. And that was actually a lot of content that I put in my outline for the book that I'm working on.
Guaranteed.
Which is another thing I've put on the back burner for this house. You know, so but yeah, dude. Contentness is a ninja, dude. That's my thing for this podcast.
Make that a quote, Austin. Content is a ninja. It'll sneak up on you real quick.
Sneaks up on you, man.
And so...
Yeah, I'll take on a challenge, bro.
Yeah. So what I'll do... I want you to give me my challenge first before I decide what yours is. What should I do for the next 7 days? Just straight. Again, it could be anything. That I have to do for 7 days straight. Again, it should be something somewhat uncomfortable. Yeah. Because that's what we're talking about, is putting ourselves in a state of uncomfort.
Did you do a lot of things, bro? I already know your ass takes cold showers. Your ass works out.
It could be something specific in working out or, whatever. It could be running a mile at least every day for the next 7 days, whether it's before my workout, after my workout, or... It could be, it could be whatever. And we're inviting you guys to accept these challenges as well. I think that would be pretty fucking cool, is if anybody that's listening really wants to level up when you hear us do a challenge. How about this? How about we come up with a challenge that we both have to do?
I just thought of one, dude. I just thought of one.
What is it?
You're going to randomly pick clients out of our database and call them every single day. How many clients, though? Just to do, like, check-ins on them, or, I don't know, like, some sort of, like...
we each just do one client a day for the next 7 days. So we just pick that would be 14 clients.
Yeah.
That we just call and just thank them.
We don't do that.
We don't do that.
We have employees that check in our clients. We have scheduled things and, like, all the systems and processes, but we should just randomly... Like almost like a random act of kindness, right?
Yeah.
Like,
but yeah, just calling somebody and saying, "Hey, we appreciate your business. I'm one of the owners here. I just wanted to touch base with you, making sure that we're doing a good job. Is there any feedback that you can give me? I'll pick again one a day for the next 7 days, and then you do that as well. Okay. So that'll be 14 clients." And then anybody that's listening that has customers, it could be a friend or a family member, maybe even if you don't own a business, somebody that you reach out to one person a day for the next 7 days that maybe you haven't communicated with for a while. Somebody that maybe you don't communicate with really ever on Facebook or something like that, that you admire, and they post cool shit. Send them a message and say, hey, man, I appreciate you. Or, hey, woman, hey, I appreciate everything that you're doing. You know, so I think that would be a fun challenge to take on.
Client reach out challenge.
Yeah, a little client reach out challenge. Yeah, let's do that.
Let's do it.
And anybody that's listening that has clients or owns a business, we're challenging you as well to go through your database and pick out one client every single day for the next 7 days and shoot them a call or shoot them a text and just let them know how much you appreciate them and how much you appreciate their business. One is probably the right thing to do anyways, especially in the 100%. Situation that we're all in right now, is just to reach out to people.
For some reason, man, I just wanted to call and check on you.
Yeah.
How's things going? It doesn't even have to be about us. It doesn't have to be about like what could we do better or anything. So hey, I just wanted to check on you. How things going for you?
How's your business doing? Is there anything that we can do?
How's your family doing?
Yeah. No, that's cool.
Anything we can do for you at Easier Accounting?
No, I like
something like that.
I like that. That's what we'll do.
We'll start
and then
that.
Every single week, so you came up with that one. Next week, I'll come up with a challenge for us to do. And then every week for this, maybe the next year or something, we'll try to do a challenge. Again, some could be physical in terms of exercising, like 50 sit-ups a day for the next 7 days. It could be reading, it could be a whole slew of different things. But, you know, this whole podcast is about getting uncomfortable. And so the best way to get uncomfortable is by setting challenges for yourself, some things that maybe you don't normally do that would be good to start doing.
All it's going to do is help you win more, man. It's just all it's going to do is build confidence. You got nothing to lose.
So we hope you guys, enjoyed today's podcast. I mean, the only reason why we wanted to talk about getting uncomfortable, because a lot of people are uncomfortable at this point in time. And again, it's not self-induced uncomfort. It's COVID. I'm going to rename that fucking thing. I hate this stupid shit. If you want my true feelings on it. But yeah, understand that the other side of uncomfort is where everything that you always benefit from happens. So just because you're in a state of uncomfort.
It's so hard, dude. But if you can tell yourself, like, this is an opportunity when you are in those jams, man, or you are being faced with something trying or challenging, dude, it's such a game changer. So
I'm going to read the review.
Cool, let's do it.
But the value is insane. I've been listening to this podcast for a few months now. These guys are the real deal. I love how they're not just in it for the money of having a podcast, but they actually give business owners real advice. Gave me the courage to finally pull the trigger on my own business and podcast, Dads Being Dudes.
Nice.
Cool.
I like
Good
it.
for you.
Yeah.
Look, that's an exact situation.
I think that's an Apex member, dude, because I think I saw him post that in the group.
No, that's something Studley podcast or something.
Oh, okay.
That's Mike Claudio.
Oh yeah.
Big Studs podcast is what that one is. This guy actually messaged our account and said, "Hey, I appreciate
maybe that's
you."
Where I read it. Yeah, maybe that's where I read
that's probably where you read it. Was just checking the DMs and saw that, but. And they said, "Hey, we would love to have you guys on the podcast one day too."
Cool.
And if you're listening to this, you send us a message when you want us to be on the podcast. We don't have a problem jumping on other people's podcasts and just showing support when we can. Yeah. We've been on a few people's podcasts that's reach out to us on through direct message, and we want to support you guys as much as we possibly can, just like you guys support us. But this is an exact situation of us basically copying other people that had a podcast that we looked up to, and then we started a podcast and now it's taking off and doing pretty well. Mm-hmm. Now he's emulating us in taking a page out of our book.
He's like, those guys can do it, I can do it. And that's what you should tell yourself,
man. That's what we did too.
Yeah.
So you're taking the page out of the page of that we are, again, I hope many, many people do that. If you've ever even thought about starting a podcast and you haven't done it because it's uncomfortable, here's your fucking...
Dude, trust me, you're capable.
The opportunity is knocking right now. Like, get it done. If that's something that you've ever even thought about, just get uncomfortable at this point in time. You guys need to put yourselves in many, 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 many uncomfortable situations that you become so numb to, what's comfortable versus uncomfortable. And the growth that you'll have from it's just going to be insane. So, me and Kale will have to continue to, and as you continue to elevate, it gets harder and harder to get uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Like, whether it's a podcast, whether it's social media, whether it's stepping on, eventually it's going to get to the point where you're going to have to start doing some crazy shit, jumping out of fucking airplanes and stuff, getting uncomfortable just to even feel what that feels like again, and overcoming the mind that says, what the hell are you doing jumping out of a good plane?
Mm-hmm.
But then you do it anyways, so I know we sometimes ramble on at the end of the podcast, but I will ask again, just like we do it at the end of every podcast, that you guys, rate and review the podcast, share it with your family, friends. If you follow us
get value out of it,
if you follow us on Instagram, like and comment and share our shit.
Yeah.
We definitely want to grow it, and we definitely want to get bigger. And like that individual said, it's not like we're sitting here putting ads on the podcast.
And we appreciate it so much.
Yeah. Everything that's happened so far is amazing, but we feel as though that we can make a large impact, and the only way to do that is by getting in front of large amounts of people. So just share it with friends, family, people that you think that really can benefit from it, so that we can grow the community and continue to try to give value. But we again, as Kel said, appreciate everything that you guys do and all the support that you've shown us. We wish you guys, have a great day, and we'll see you guys next week.